Da 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 da. Leo needles and rap uses to be categorized. The podcast. Nailed it. Today I'm going to share with you kind of a day in the life. For those of you who want to know what that looks like, because every once in a while I like to share behind the scenes of what an ordinary day in my life looks like. And I've done that kind of stuff throughout the years, and it always makes me happy and a bit sentimental to see how my days have changed and stayed the same. I did one in 2011, then 2014, then 2019, and I even did a podcast episode a year ago talking about my life back then. So, I don't know, it kind of makes me, it's nice. It's like a little touch point of like, oh, this is what an average day looks like for Leonie. So about 6:30 in the morning, our alarm goes off, and our kids are usually up already because they're early birds, and they're usually getting ready for school themselves. And so I'll blearily stumble out to the kitchen and make myself a cup of chai with milk and honey. I'll settle myself down on the couch with a newspaper, a magazine, or an iPad to read blogs with, and I eat a peanut butter cookie Larabar while I read. And I want to say that eating and reading at the same time is basically my version of heaven on earth. And that having older kids, like mine are like 11 and 7 now, it's like heaps easier than toddlers, guys. You can just like benevolently ignore them, all in the name of fostering independence instead of like, this counts as childhood neglect. A little pro tip for you. And like my husband is super on top of morning routines. He's the one that ushers them through making sure they're getting ready on time, whether they've packed lunches, whether they've got the muffins that he's baked for them, whether they have swimming clothes or whatever they need. And I just float along while all this happened there to occasionally say, rad work, or yeah, I can plait your hair, but mostly just blissfully oblivious. And I regard this as my feminist triumph. Like, morning mental load? I have none. Hooray! Look, you might be wondering, like, how did I train my husband to be like this? I don't believe I can train him to do anything. He is a great, majestic, untrainable wildebeest. He was, however, raised by a feminist mother, to which I say, thank you very much. And the only way I may have somehow influenced his behaviour is just, I don't know, maybe being lazy from the get-go, so do less and eventually someone will pick up the slack. I would like to say, though, I did talk to my husband about this, and after, like, thinking it, like, through this whole process, and he was like, yeah, like, you don't do much in the mornings, but you used to when the kids were littler, and you'd kind of, like, set up the structure for it, and it used to take a lot of time and your energy, so you can just like now enjoy what you have created. And I'm like, noise. Anyway, so in terms of like what a stereotypical dad I kind of have become, I once had to manage the morning school routine by myself because my husband was ill, and when I got home I realized, like completely horrified, that I didn't actually pack any lunch for the kids, and I didn't think that they had any food. Like I hadn't checked. I just was totally oblivious. And I said to my husband, oh my God, I think I just sent them to school without any lunch. And he was like, oh no, it's fine. Like I felt okay enough to get up and cook some pasta last night for the kids' lunches. And I've got Starry packing her and Beth's lunches now. So she would have made up pasta lunches for them. And she indeed had. And I just think, phew, like, and also what a triumph. And I should note, like, even just saying this, isn't it weird? Like, I can feel all this societal judgment and conditioning rising up in me that makes me squeamish to say I'm lazy. Like, is there anything worse on this earth than a lazy mother? But I do plenty, more than enough, as a person and as a mother, and I don't believe I have to do it all myself. What's more, I don't believe because I've got boobs and vag that I should be doing it all. Like, I don't think that's the case. I kind of had to do a bit more when the boobs were, working boobs and they needed to feed like just small babies and stuff, but now they're retired, and they're just there for fun and lols, really. So, yeah, it can be a very egalitarian system. Also, um, I love this. I wrote this and was mapping all this out, and my husband had no idea what I was doing, and he just announced that he was off to bake blueberry muffins so that he could freeze them all for the next week of school lunches, and I was like, fuck yeah, having a shared mental load is bonza. Anyway, about 5 minutes before we need to leave the house, I go and get dressed by picking up, whatever's cleanest from the floor or on the slightly worn but not stinky clothing pile. And then my 20-second morning beauty routine is a spray of toner in the face, moisturizer and lip balm. Spritz, slap, swipe, done. Sometimes I also don't read what bottle I've picked up and I spritz myself in the face with deodorant instead. So, hashtag blessed, hashtag clean beauty. And once or twice a week, instead of lounging around like a lofty pelican in the mornings, I do an hour of work, and that's when I'm doing interviews for podcasts, Q&A calls for my courses and webinars and all that stuff. And my husband, bless him, did mention this morning, he's like, honey, things don't go quite as smoothly when you're not in the house. Even though you're not doing anything while you're there in the morning, the kids just are a little bit more challenging to motor on through to the time. So let's face it, my present is just deeply calming. Okay, about 7:30 we head off in the car, all four of us together for school runs. My husband and I rarely do it individually, and we just do it as a team instead. Just my husband's never I've never had to do the groceries really by myself. He's like, no, let's do it together. It's it's not always the most enjoyable activity. I mean, it is when you're a mum and you get to do it without children and you're like, whoa, this is a holiday. But yeah, we've just kind of always done everything together and we just do it as a team. And he usually drives and I drift off my own world and occasionally take notes in my journal, and the kids play games in the back of the car and we listen to the radio and we play they've always got a quiz show on in the mornings, and so we talk about that, and yeah, it's a bit cute. So kids get to school about 8 a.m. Kids will walk into school by themselves and we watch until they're in their school rooms, because we are indeed stalker parents. And then we head to the river to go walk together and talk shit together, and it's totally my favorite place to walk. It's just kilometers of paths beside the river, and it's just really popular for dog owners to go there. So I not only get to look for fish and stingrays and birds and pelicans, but I can play, ooh, cute dog. And if you're wondering how do you play this magnificent game? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I will tell you. So when you see a dog, gaze just completely besotted at it and say, "Ooh, cute dog," and then occasionally mouth, "I love you," to the said puppy, and hope this does not reflect poorly upon you in public. And then, of course, rinse and repeat for every dog that you pass on your walk, and there will be at least 50. And then stop to get my favourite smoothie from my favourite shop and request it made with very specific instructions, like the high maintenance babe I am. And then I walk back to the car, sharing the smoothie with my husband, delighting when it's made just right. So if you're wondering what kind of smoothie it is called the Aztec smoothie from Raw Energy. Raw Energy is kind of a fruit store, a healthy food franchise around this area. But it's got frozen bananas, peanut butter, cacao powder, coconut, chia, coconut milk, and honey. It's kind of like a Reese's peanut butter cup in smoothie format, and it's fucking get in my mouth, no. Yes. 9 a.m. we plop around town doing errands together, the usual stuff like post office and groceries, shopping, whatever else needs to be done. I think yesterday we went and got some, I don't know, like soda stream refills because we like bubbly water. We looked for a pencil case that one of my kids wanted specifically to put art pens in. We couldn't find it. And checked the post and got a couple of groceries. Ta-da! Nailed it. 11 a.m. we get home. Maybe before that, maybe after. And we just sit on the veranda. We talk together for a while. Maybe chuck a load of washing on. Sometimes my husband does the gardening and mowing because we've got a couple of acres. He'll also clean up and take care of the kitchen and the dishwasher. Always does that. So much so I don't know how to use the dishwasher. Nor have I ever really known how to use one. My hands are still quite soft. Thank you. Thank you for noticing after 20 years of lazing about. It's pretty even, 50-50, because he does a lot of the daily stuff and then I do kind of the big cleans when they need doing. At some point, I might start doing some work. I used to schlep off to my office to do it, which is a room that's just behind our garage. But now I tend to just sit on the veranda couch next to my husband and work. Also, if you're wondering why I say my husband roughly 1 billion times instead of using his name, I try not to use any of my family members' names now publicly, just for privacy reasons. They're still super adorable, though. Now, in terms of what I do in a work session, every day is different. It's usually only about 2 hours of work. Today it's only going to be about an hour unless I do a little bit tonight. But I always write down my task list in my journal and update it as I go. So things I might do are write and illustrate blog posts, create new free stuff, write sales emails, run webinars, come up with marketing plans and goals, try out and experiment with new things. So at the moment we've got a little Trust Pulse pop up on our website, and it gives a little somebody's just bought this product this amount of time ago, and just seeing how that works. We're always just trying out different shit like that. I also write newsletters, so there's my daily-ish newsletter you can get at leoniedawson.com/daily, and my weekly newsletters you can get them at leoniedawson.com/love-letters. Also recording podcast episodes, of course, writing sales pages, creating new courses, updating yearly workbooks. That's only once a year, a once-a-year project. Getting interviewed on other podcasts, learning from other entrepreneurs through books or online courses, or the very occasional coaching. I tend to do better when it's autodidactic instead of kind of prescribed learning through coaching. I like to just kind of consume information whole. And honestly, I never stop learning. I love it. I also do financial management, like reconciling Xero, checking expenses, having meetings with accountants and financial advisors, and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, I don't do everything in one work session. I usually batch record podcasts and do a few at a time and schedule them in. I also usually have a monthly focused on the most critical things to work on, especially if I'm launching something. So this month, for example, as you know, I'm promoting that my courses are doubling in price at the end of the month. And so, if you want to get my 3 most popular courses, you should be getting it now. So most of my focus is on that. So in terms of what my month's work looks like for this month specifically is I'm trying out daily blogging, daily podcasting, including if you listened to the one a few ago, sharing one of the most horrifyingly embarrassing and hilarious mistakes I've ever made, which is just comedy gold and also horrifying. I, of course, am sending daily-ish and weekly-ish newsletters, running an affiliate competition. If you want to share about my work and get 50% of the enrollment fee as thank you monies, you can go to leoniedawson.com/affiliates. And you can also have the chance to win shit. So I think at the moment we've got the person who shares the most amount of money gets $1,000 extra money as thank you. And then like sometimes you can win free iPads, sometimes you can win free t-shirts. Like it is super fun. Making free shit like the printable poster I just made, and the 15 reasons you need an e-course now, which I did a mini training for that you can get for free, and running webinars like the Open Office Hour that I've got coming up next week. If you want to ask me any questions, go to leoniedawson.com/AMA-April, and you can join that webinar. There's going to be prizes, you can win e-courses, and it's just going to be the most amount of fun ever. Now, the next question people ask is like, but do you really only work 10 hours a week? And pretty much, bar a few hours less or more, depending on what I feel like I'm creating, like I didn't, I'd stick to that 10 hours because I didn't set out to create a full-time job for myself with my business. I wanted to create something that easily fits around being with my kids and living a good life. And here's the thing, like I just don't thrive on busyness. My autism prevents it, and it will soon send me spinning into just kind of this overstimulated tailspin. So instead, I just focus on doing the most important work and killing off any tasks that don't need doing. I don't delegate the task if it can just straight up be deleted. I don't have a large team anymore as I don't enjoy managing staff. And I just have one part-time assistant who thrives on what I call benevolent neglect and what she calls not being micromanaged. So we can all find our perfect person for us, right? And here's the thing, like I've never ever worked full-time in my business. I've never had the time luxury of it. Before having kids, I still worked in the public service while I built my business up on the side. And then I plopped out babies, and I didn't have any time then either. I wanted to be with them as much as I could while still being the breadwinner for our family. So my business needed to be able to generate sufficient funds without it requiring much time. And clearly, like working such small hours hasn't hurt my business's growth. I've now brought in over $11 million in revenue with super high profit margins. It's all about being super strategic with your time and making sure you're making maximum impact with minimum effort. Now, here's the thing, like I get asked a lot about building a big business in part-time hours, and I have so much shit to talk about on that subject. So I think I might need to do a masterclass on it maybe sometime. So let me know if you're interested in me teaching something like that. Right. From like 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. ish, at some point we'll head back into town. Sometimes we'll go earlier and go for another walk along the river, or just sit and look at the river. The river is kind of our place. Sometimes I'll go by myself into town and have tea and cake at my favorite bookstore. I'll get a facial, get a massage, do osteopath, get my brows done, get my hair chopped off, or sit by the river and read and write by myself. 3 o'clock, we pick up the kids and head home. A couple of nights a week, we grab a takeaway for dinner, especially Japanese or Thai. 4 p.m., we just hang out. We talk shit with the kids, basically, find out about their day. They always really want to know every single thing we've done that day. And then they talk about everything that they've done that day. Our kids don't get homework at the school they go to. Yay! Fucking yay! So, they just read to us, or we read to them, whatever. 5 p.m. I make dinner if we haven't bought takeaway. Usually, like I always order from HelloFresh, or I used to order with Marley Spoon as well. Both are good. And I find it really helpful because I fucking hate meal planning and trying to like work out what recipes to eat that week, and then like writing the list of the ingredients that I need, and then go to the grocery store and get set ingredients, then try and find set ingredients like once they're in the fridge. I don't really have that level of executive functioning to be able to do that. If you do, I am so thrilled for you. My brain does not. So I have found HelloFresh or Marley Spoon or whatever just fucking life changing. So make it feel like a domestic goddess. Like, oh my God, look at me. Like, my cooking skills are like 1,000 times better now that I get like the recipe. What are those? It's not meal delivery because it's not cooked. You got to cook it yourself. But it's all the shit comes in the packet and it's got pictures. Easy. So yeah, I look at me like cooking stuff, like achievement unlocked. It's only taken 35 years. And even when my dad came to visit, bless him, I like cooked up this huge feast for Christmas again, because HelloFresh has a Christmas box that I can order with, and it tells you step by step what to do. And so like I make these like fucking exquisite like Christmas lunches now. And my dad's like, wow, things have changed, Leonie. I'm like, look at me, I can cook. And he's like, it's only taken like 36 years. Like, good for you. Like, you don't want to be in a rush for these things. Bless him. Anyway, 5:30ish, we watch some TV together. Usually it's like a craft or a baking show like Great British Bake Off or Nailed It. And then, of course, we've got to round it off with every kid's cocaine of choice, and that is Bluey. Na 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 Bluey! If you are a mum, you're like singing along with me now. 6:30 p.m. So this is where we actually had a big change in our routine. So usually we would put our kids to bed early, about 6:30, and they could, read, write, play in their bedrooms, no screens. And then we would Netflix and chill like adults until about 9:30. But this year we started trying out a new routine, and we found it so beneficial that we ended up continue doing it. So we all started migrating to our big bedroom at 6:30 p.m. Like, yes, all of us. So let me like lay the scene. Like, we have a large master bedroom that fits our king bed, a single bed, a couch, an armchair, a bookcase, and more. It's quite big. Like, my house isn't like a mansion by any means. They just changed the layout of the house. So where the garage, the double car garage was supposed to be, they turned it into a master bedroom instead. So it's big. And that can, like, I actually do prefer a bit of a cozier bedroom that's a little bit smaller. It's like, but I'm not going to complain about the largeness of the bedroom, especially since our youngest prefers to still sleep in our room, which is fine. So she has her own bed in there, and our eldest kid currently likes sleeping in her room, but during 2020 she moved back in with us, probably because of pandemic stress, and she had her own bed in there as well, and we could all fit in there plus the dog, and it was comfortable, for us all to be able to sleep in the big old sleep room. So we co-slept a lot when they were littler, and they were always welcome to sleep. They're always going to be welcome to sleep in our bedroom. So we don't necessarily go to sleep at 6:30. Well, me and my husband definitely don't. We just hang out in there together with no TV or screens, and the girls will play endless games together. They read to me, I read to them. We play a whole of family game. And about 7:30 or so, I start kind of ushering them into bed. My husband usually goes to sleep around the same time as the kids now, because he's caring for our aging puppy Angel, because she's 15 now and needs assistance multiple times a night for toileting. It's basically like he's looking after a newborn again, except this time no boobies are needed, so I sleep through the entire thing. So by going to bed earlier, he's going to be able to manage to scrape in enough hours of patchy sleep to not feel like a zombie during the day, and I'll stay up while the rest of the family kind of slumbers around me. I'll read and write, journal, meditate, do yoga, whatever other challenge I'm doing, and I'm usually asleep about 9:30 at night. And I'm really enjoying like just the extra reading time, really, and the quiet. And like, here's the thing, we probably won't have this routine forever. It's just the right thing for us to do for right now to get everyone's needs met, especially while we're looking after our aging doggy. And I do enjoy those moments when our bed is just kind of filled with bodies and idle chit chat, and then those quiet, still hours as they sleep around me too. So all in all, I'm grateful for this life. There's hard days and there are miraculous days and there are boring days too, but It's my life, and I'm very lucky to have it. I'm very lucky for this work and these humans and this little piece of land beneath the sun. I'm just so fucking lucky. So, of course, it's April. I need to remind you, prices are doubling in 9 days' time on Money Manifesting and Multiple Streams of Income, 40 days for a finished book and 40 days to create and sell your e-course. So if you are intending to buy any of those courses at any point in time, make sure you get in now and get them so you can save yourself some basically half price. If you go to leoniedawson.com/double, you can find them. And that'll be too sweet. That'll be so fun. And I'm so excited to help you. Oh, I should say as well, you get to keep them, forever. For as long as I've got the course active, you get to keep it. So you'll also get free access to all future live rounds. So even if you're not going to do them straight away, that's okay, because you can just start using them when you're ready. You've got them stockpiled there as your little inspiration source. And you're doing it while you save money. Oh, and there are payment plans available for all of them as well. So that's all. Thank you for listening to this. I hope this has been useful. If you've got any more questions you want me to answer in the podcast, email us, support@leoniedawson.com. Otherwise, don't forget, get the courses before they double in price. No takesy backsies. I can't issue the the discount after 30th of April. All right. Okay. Bye. I love you. Bye. Have a great day. Bye.